And then they said it was Station Beach.
No, busing is in your.
Okay, but remember the meeting we had, we talked about it? and
Yeah,
then that was-
I don't know how it ended up in there, but that's where it is.
Okay,
All set, Mr. Mayor.
that answers that question.
Okay, good evening, welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting of June 17, 2025. We'll all rise and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, in attendance, we have Mr. John Kingston, Miss Alicia Milbury Ellis, Mr. Anthony Caggiano, Mr. Fred Sinella, Mr. Patrick Keith, Dale Svan, Assistant Superintendent Kaba, Superintendent Kelly, and Matt Cruz, the CFO. We have the quorum. We have approval of the minutes, that's what we're, right? Cool. We have attached warrants. Matt,
Any questions?
any questions? No questions, right? No financial reports, no food service. Financials. There are no communications, enrollment update, Miss Kelly?
So this is just the bi-monthly enrollment, just so that you can see where it is right now. It's a snapshot in time. I think a more accurate enrollment update for us to look at will be the one in August when we're getting ready to come back. And see how many kids have come into the district. Things are pretty much stable and steady. As they have been. The high school enrollment, which we're always looking at. To date is 2,043, so still fluctuating between that 2,000-2,100. And everything else is pretty much the same as well. Some minor changes by school. But I think, again, the August numbers are what we're gonna really want to take a careful look at and see where we are then.
Any questions?
On grade 8, that's just currently grade 8 right now, correct?
Grade 8 currently,
Yeah.
yep.
And what is our projection with it? Low 4s?
I think it's low 5s, but some of those kids will go to private school, for
Right.
high school, or to the Voc.
Right, what are we gonna have that number for that?
That will know better as the summer progresses, because those kids will notify us that they're not attending and request their records to be sent to other
So
schools.
basically, it's like 16 or 1,700, not counting minus the 8th graders coming in that might be going to a private school, other
Right.
school.
Mhm,
Okay.
I have a quick question.
mhm.
Dr. Kelly, is it possible for us to think about something with the Beachmont and the Polar Bear? I'm just looking at the numbers, the disparity. I
Mhm.
mean, Polar Bear's always been pretty stacked
Over.
like this, yeah.
Crowded,
But
yeah.
when I see it like this so clear, and Beachmont schools are drastically smaller, I mean,
Mhm.
almost by half in many cases.
Yeah,
Is this something we could look at to like,
one thing we do invite all Paul Revere parents every year is to have their child go to the Beachmont. There are not too many that take us up on that offer.
okay,
I think it depends on where they're going to work, and if it's convenient for them to drop the kids off, they would do that, but mostly they like to be in their neighborhood.
is it possible for us to like have a cutoff
The,
of PRE students, like, as, you know, at some point where any additional enrollment would have to go to
the
the
Beachmont,
Beachmont,
we could
if these are getting, I mean, 'cause these are so.
change the neighborhood, lines, you mean, yeah,
I mean, it's just something to think about.
it is, yeah.
While I'm looking at this.
The one question mark I have around that, and the mayor might be able to answer that better than me, is do we anticipate that there'll be any kids coming out of Suffolk Downs when that is completed?
You know, in kind of same typical fashion with a lot of these, kind of, you know, higher end luxury, apartments, they're mostly all, studios, ones and very few twos.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, families coming out of them, but you know, there'll be very, very small numbers, I can imagine, but
Yeah,
I know the first building at Suffolk Downs, which is completed, is a majority of single bedroom and, studio. The majority of the apartments are between 600 and 700 square feet.
oh,
Not
okay, so
really,
it's not gonna be. yeah,
yeah, mostly, you know, you get like couples
Mhm,
and young professionals. But, you know, you'll definitely get a few.
yeah.
But
We
you
can
know,
definitely do
I think that as you go into later phases, but you're talking probably, you know, between 5 and 7 years from now.
Yeah.
completion.
So in the meantime, that is something we can look at with that line is drawn.
Diane, I have to step out. There's a bit of an emergency.
Okay.
If I
Okay.
want to take over.
Who's next would be secretary, right?
Good, I can ask myself to speak. There is a building, a good sized building opening up right across from the beach one. They've got now leasing on it and it looks like they're almost finishing up. So hopefully, as the man said, hopefully it'll be young professionals and all that. But there's I don't know how many apartments, but there's gotta be hundreds.
Mm.
Massive building on Bennington Street right across from the school.
But there's
You know
got one
if-
already, John, that's been there for about 7 years, right alongside of it.
Right, but
And
I was going down Bennington the other day and I literally,
Yeah.
there was no one behind me, so I slowed down and I said, I didn't. I've gone to Beachmont School, but I take the left, I probably wasn't paying attention to what was on the right, but when I was driving that way, I looked up and I went, wow, it's a big building.
Yeah, but that whole configuration is going because of Suffolk Downs, they're changing the whole traffic pattern.
Right, but I mean, just the size of the building, I was surprised. It's ready to be, it said now leasing, but it looks like they're finishing touches.
Is it like 2 and 3 bedrooms or?
I couldn't, it just said now leasing, but it's a
I would think
massive
no.
building. No, similar to what the mayor said, I'm sure, but it's just, I saw it and I went, oh boy.
But I mean, I've seen on the boulevard, more buses picking kids up and dropping them off. They're coming, if you build it, they will come. Alicia, to go on, I don't know who's chairing the meeting.
Me, I guess.
John, I'm sorry. Superintendent and I had waltzed around this numbers between Beachmont and the Far Revere. And there was some effort made. I don't think adequate. In the superintendent's eyes, probably adequate. We went so far as to suggest they're already on the bus. If there's a 15, 20, 25 who will consent to it, let the bus just keep going to Beachmont. I mean, I was there today, I mean, the numbers, and that was downsized because the building wasn't adequate when they built it. So I think if the superintendent would be so kind as to, I mean, yes, a notice may have gone home, I don't know. Parents that I've talked to are interested in it. I mean, at that time, they were like 10 or 12 in a kindergarten class or a first grade class. Who wouldn't want their kid in 10 or
Yeah.
12 kids? Maybe they can't drive, and maybe they don't have the means. But I think that if we can work in conjunction, because all of them are on the bus. So Diane, if you would kind of get a better feel on it, maybe better notification or something, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
There's a lot
and,
to
and
explore.
that is where that came from, Fred, was when we had talked about it before. That's when we started sending the notices.
Yeah.
We have more room, smaller class size. If you're interested, let us know, but we can do that again, but I think Aisha is right that the only way we're really gonna move larger numbers of people is to change the neighborhood lines on where the neighborhood school is. And one of the things that I'm thinking we could do, if we're gonna try to find somebody, a consultant who can come in and work with us on where are the neighborhoods for the middle schools
Mhm.
around the whole lottery piece,
Mhm.
we could ask them with that
That
as
as
well.
Okay,
But the
Yeah.
difference is that no matter where you draw your lines from the Pines, the beach one, it's not gonna change.
Mm.
I mean, you can't draw it that intricate to do it.
Yeah.
So I think this is unique because of distance involved and definitely transportation.
yeah, maybe, we could think about a cutoff
Yeah.
with their numbers and it just is what it
Well,
is.
suggestion is tomorrow's the last day at the Far Revere. If the notice could go home with the kids, anyone interested in contact whomever.
Mm.
We
can even
Probably
send
not
them,
tomorrow,
we've
for the week.
got huge interaction with parents on Parent Square,
Mm,
so we could send a notice to them on that.
I mean, it's just too bad. I'm not too bad. Tomorrow's the last
I
day.
know.
But I mean, Diane, no secret, I think that's a hidden gem. And when you're talking the numbers that you're talking about. Okay, thank you.
Apologies, I may have missed it. There was just a bit of an emergency. So.
Also said.
No, all set.
We're on personnel items.
Okay, thank you. So, new hires, retirement.
So one thing I wanted to point out on the staffing or personnel items is they did not complete in time the list of non-renewals that will be in the July packet, because they were just finalizing some meetings with folks. over the last couple of days, so we couldn't get it onto the list in time.
Right, it's kind of a related question. Some teachers have reached out about how we doing, if you could, and I'm talking names, just asking for numbers. On the 21-ish that we had a kind of, I don't wanna use the wrong word, move around, shuffle, I don't know what word to use, I don't wanna offend anybody.
Yeah,
Can we say that we've found spots for X number of them so far, or?
we have, and we have, Danielle's been doing one-on-one meetings with them, I've been doing one-on-one meetings with them.
Okay.
And what we've been doing right now is kind of this is what we have available, this is where we're gonna put you, if something changes over the summer, what's your preference? And we'll change over the summer,
Okay.
if somebody decides to move on, we can move them closer to their desired position.
I told them I would ask tonight because I figured this would be the best way of getting that information out and that, instead of
Yeah.
answering an email and not giving them the correct answer.
Yeah.
So, great.
And I
Thank
think
you.
it was 12 people, right?
Yeah, it might be 14 now.
The 12 or 14 people.
Great, thank you.
Oh, right.
So whoever's watching that, yeah, that's the answer. Thank you, appreciate that.
Good job. Acceptance of donations and gifts.
So we had one that we wanted to mention, you might recall, I think it was 2 months ago, that we presented for the library, was receiving a grant from the federal government for $5,000, and in the meantime, that grant was pulled back. So fortunately, I
They
know.
could do that?
Yeah, it was part of the whole funding piece around libraries that got, all of that funding got stopped.
Okay.
There was news today that it got reinstated, so maybe we're gonna get that too, but in the meantime, we got this secondary grant, and again, I have to thank Mia Morgan, who's our high school librarian, who has gone after both of these grants and got them. She does a great job. So we'll, hopefully the second one, that other one gets reinstated, but this is specifically, this grant, the $5,000 is specifically for books for newcomers, who are new to the country. So,
And this was a partnership with the Revere Public Library.
oh, right, yes,
work
yes,
together.
that's right,
Okay.
yep. So we should thank Diana,
That's
at the
great.
Revere
So I like
Public
that.
Library as well.
Works with the Riviera Public Library.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So,
She's great, they're both great.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're really good. We have a lot of synergy in the two departments.
Yeah,
Well, same
yeah.
department, but really good. You never realize how much the people use the library until that we had the internet system down and the online books that are used. It's like in the thousands a week.
Wow,
You know,
that's
because
great.
when it was down for a day or
They had to
so.
manually do
there's a
them?
subscription issue. No, when people have a digital subscription, they're
Oh,
they're
right.
using a Kindle.
Oh, yeah.
And they're they're on a trip or they're work wherever, and they have rights to use these, the system was down for a day because the subscription was tied to a credit card from someone in the city 15 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
And so when people weren't able to get their online subscription, it was wild, but we fixed it and we want to go back.
The good part is that you recognize how many people are actually using it, so that's wonderful.
That was what was eye-opening to me, was how many people used it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, school field trips to run on. So this next item is the bus arm camera monitoring enforcement. And I'll take that out. I'll share this with everyone, but I wanted to kind of give everyone a bit of an update so we can start having the dialogue, and then we'll make sure we take the corrective, right, the proper course. And go through all the prescriptive measures, but the city council has already adopted the legislation to allow the city to install this technology. The next steps would be the school committee agreeing to allowing this to be something that is used on our school transportation buses, mostly the large buses and the medium-sized buses. It wouldn't be used for the small caravans, things like that, but ultimately it's bus arm technology. The bus arm goes out. There's a camera that's activated as soon as it goes out. And what it's done is it's the amount of vehicles that are ignoring the stop arm, going around it and putting children in danger. So this started a few years back where a few cities, Salem and Peabody, began doing a pilot program, and they were finding one bus had somewhere between 700 and 800 violations on that one path for the month, which was significant. Of course, we have so many buses out there and how many kids are in danger. By adopting this, it would be an enforcement mechanism, a civil penalty, not a criminal penalty, where it would be similar to getting a parking ticket, but a little bit more of a sting. Because of the children's safety. To the school or the city, what happens is we would have to get into an agreement with, Healy or whatever, transportation providers. Would get into an agreement with one of these companies. There's a few of them operating in the state. And believe it or not, because they already have monitoring technology on the buses, they very well might be already working with these camera type companies. They would just be external. And the city basically gets into an agreement with the company. The company takes on all the responsibilities of monitoring, of issuance of fines and or warnings. It does go through it does go through a police officer. So a police officer would have to review to okay the official enforcement.
Ticket or whatever.
So it wouldn't be arbitrary. Of course, all of the checks and balances are in there.
Do we own the cameras?
No, so we just basically, it's all through a leasing program. So I'll just say we've already been pitched by a few companies. We haven't made any agreements. And again, what we'll do is if everyone agrees, we'll send out some sort of an RFP or an RFQ and get the best qualifier. But ultimately they charge something in the realm of $100 per month per bus. And then they charge a fee for each ticket that's issued. And then what they do is they take all of that off of whatever the fee is. So
Whatever the cost is?
if the fee was a $200 fee, then they would take all of their costs and then submit to the city to reserve whatever's left.
Okay.
There'll never be a check going out. There would only be a fee coming in the hopes that this would be, behavioral corrective measures to, not have 800 violations on the school bus
We
route.
should be voting on it, so that way we can have it ready for September.
Well, what I want to ask is, we have time, and yes, so what a few of these companies have already asked is, would we be willing to do a pilot program for the summer on one or two of our bus routes that we might have school transportation? They all have contacts with these major bus companies as well, and allow them to go on a bus or two as a pilot program, no written agreement, there wouldn't need to be any full agreement. And then they can give us sample data to say, hey, listen, just so you know, the buses running through your city are high risk. Or they might say, you know what, there's not a lot going on, and you guys have a great community and everyone's obeying the law, so these might not be really fruitful. There's not a lot of
I
crap.
don't know if we need them to tell you that. I could tell you right now.
I'm pretty sure.
Private in this city.
I'm pretty sure when I walk on Park Ave, sometimes I'll actually walk to work, especially on the nice days, and I've seen it, and they go right around, and it's
Yeah.
pretty awful because of the kids jumping out, it's pretty bad, so. I just I'll send this to everyone, and it kind of talks about the enforcement law and the summaries, but it also talks about, if we adopted a pilot program, again, that would just be us just agreeing to do that. The next thing, I know that the school union or the bus driver union had reached out and said, we'd just like to be part of the process. They were not trying to be obstructionists. They just wanted to make sure that they were involved. And I said, absolutely. And of course, Superintendent Kelly and her team would need to be involved. Revere Police Department, the parking department, because they will probably kind of be the managers of the ticketing piece. And then of course, our transportation companies. But just wanted to kind of throw it out there. I do apologize. This is hot off the press, so I'll forward this to everyone so they can see it and kind of run through it. But the good news is, from a legislative process, the city council had already adopted this from an ordinance standpoint. So we can, as long as we come to an agreement and we then get into an agreement with our bus companies, they told me that they can have equipment on a bus within like 3 or 4 days.
Okay,
wow.
It takes an hour. Just they go in there, they hook it up onto the thing, and so.
okay, so it's just our process.
It's just, yeah, so I would ideally, if we can come to say, hey, listen, and I'll work with Diane directly. If we can do a pilot program, then that's great. And then maybe before the end of the summer, we can figure out if we want to do this as a full scale so that they can get ready for September.
Yeah, it doesn't cost us anything.
Cost us $0.
Right,
Yes.
it's a no-brainer.
So we don't do a lot of big bus transportation in the summer. The one group, or two groups, I should say, that we are going to be transporting this summer because of the construction at the Garfield School. We are gonna have buses that pick the Garfield Elementary, separate bus for the middle school, and take them to the alternate site, which is at the Beachmont. So we would have those will be big buses running, they'll be our buses. So they'll be able to monitor that, but outside of that, I think we just have special needs kids that require transportation, but they would be on the smaller vehicles.
Well, I mean, even the small runs that we have, there might just be a smaller sample size, but at least they'll give you something.
Mhm.
And I think it'll just give everyone an opportunity to see what, you know, they'll show us exactly what the cameras are recording.
Yeah.
And everything's and from a privacy standpoint, just so everyone's aware, everything's redacted. There's no facial images on these pictures. So it gets a car. And when it finally gets out, the license plates and faces are redacted automatically by the company. So there's no privacy invasions and things like that. It's only meant to pick up the actual violation.
Is there a reason why they don't put the equipment on the smaller vehicles?
So I think some of the smaller vehicles don't have specific bus arms,
The stop.
you know, so I'm not sure,
Okay.
I'm not sure how big it needs to be.
Do all the Healy buses have arms? Cause I wouldn't make that,
The big buses, yeah,
they should. I'll keep, you know, it's Tomorrow's last day.
I think it has to do with, it might not even be just the smaller ones, but it might be just the really small, like the ones that have the top flips. That have like, you know, the caravans that just
lights.
have the top ones that flop up.
yeah, because we do have some, and even I think a couple of our own vans, I'd have to confirm this with Denise, have not the big arm, but they have the stop sign
Yeah.
that flips out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would analyze the fleet and then, you know, and they would
I wasn't sure all
recommend,
the
they would
buses
probably
had-
do a recommendation and say, hey, we recommended to go on all of these runs
Mhm.
and go from there. Now, some of the other complications are, if they're going from city to city, you know, because then that's an
Oh, right.
enforcement mechanism in another city. So it wouldn't be valid if we're sending kids to Beverly, in all of those jurisdictions in between would say, hey, we don't adopt this, or they haven't yet
Yeah.
adopted it.
Yeah.
I can tell you a lot of communities are adopting,
Yeah.
you know, it's
But
really.
even, yeah, at that, if we did have kids on a run like that, it would be on a small vehicle, it wouldn't be
Right,
on the big
exactly.
bus.
But we can get definitely more information on exactly what the limit is for the buses and all that, but
Yeah,
but
exactly.
ultimately, there's not a lot of risk here for us, you know, and I think it's a good trial. And again, there's no penalty for the public. It would just be a pilot program to see. There won't be any issuances of violations, even warnings. And then if we were to go forward with this, you know that the first month, 2 months, it could be just full warnings. It's more of an educational resource. We would do a big public safety communication to everyone. Put it out on the school system, the city system, and say, hey, listen, this is out there, just be aware. And as you all know, and I'm saying on the school committee right, this types of technology and is gonna be used in more enforcement. When it comes to the state, in most states, traffic enforcement, speed enforcement,
Mhm.
it's coming. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy it because I get so many calls about people speeding
Yeah.
on many different streets. So this type of technology is gonna continue to grow. And so it's one of those where we should just embrace to become early adopters.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
So that's
That's a question.
Yeah.
When the violation, the company forwards it to the parking and then they issue.
They get the approval and then they issue, so they just go through the checks and balances that where it gets like a two-factor authentication. So two people are saying, hey, yes, we deem this a violation, where it wouldn't be, it's willy-nilly. And they're trying to, kind of like a tow company, right? Where they, there's some predatory towing out there. We try to make sure that we don't have, so we don't wanna be too much of a hammer. But it'll go through that, and the company would issue everything through the city of Revere, so it would go out from them. We don't have to touch it, we don't have to have
Oh, wow,
stuff from
okay.
there. But they do charge a fee for each ticket that's submitted. And it's civil, so it wouldn't be an insurance violation either, which, those are tough, those are hard ones. You get a lot of ire when that happens. So, we can talk about it a little bit later, but if you guys give me the green light, I'll start initiating the pilot and I'll work with Diane on it.
I say go for it.
That's fine. Great, okay. Sounds good. Everyone in favor?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Other business, school department, on it's by the chair.
So there's one thing that we didn't get on the agenda is the dates for the July to December meetings.
Mm.
And if everybody wants to stay with the third Tuesday of the month, it would be July 15th, August 19th. I'll send these out to you so you can write them down.
We already got it, didn't we?
Yeah, I saw an email. But it wasn't
Robin sent
official.
it.
Oh, did you send them out?
Robin
Oh,
sent it
okay,
to
all right.
us, Yeah.
Robinson, yeah.
I do
So is
apologize.
everybody good with that?
Fine, I didn't see it, but okay.
I
Thank you, Robin.
won't be able to be here the 15th, so, but I think you can handle it without.
That's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh,
No, the 15th.
I'll be traveling.
So I'm supposed to be traveling that day too, and I was just looking at it thinking, what should we do? But
I can do the
we
22nd.
want to do the
We could have a
22nd?
really lame meeting, it's July.
I could go a week before, well, a week before you.
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
where you said it's scheduling, so instead of make it the second or the fourth that month, that's all.
Not July second?
No, I'm just saying.
The
you
second
change
Tuesday of the
date.
month, he means, or the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, we could do I'm fine
the
with the next
22nd?
one, whatever works for everybody.
22nd.
Right now, it's so far in advance that
I know.
I can't do the second, but I can do the fourth.
July
July
22nd.
I mean, no, this.
So 7/22?
Fourth
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I can do.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You around
Okay.
7:22, so,
7/22, I don't have anything right now, I'm good.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's not last.
Well, there you go.
That's the 15th. Okay.
where's easy?
And then the regular meeting, I guess, I don't know, before we adjourn. I would just, I think we may have talked about it in one of our subcommittee meetings, I want to congratulate Victor and Jacqueline Monteroso again on their baby. Congratulations
Congratulations.
on
Nicholas?
Nicholas Franklin,
Yes,
Nicholas Franklin.
yeah, stuck with me.
And Stacy, if you're watching, we hope you're feeling better.
One other thing from the regular meeting agenda, I had, put on the agenda to review with you all at the regular meeting, the new guidelines that DESI came out with for the competency determination requirement. We had talked about this a few months ago, but they have, in the last few months, decided to change, their guidance, but they didn't actually get, so Danielle and I both attended a webinar on that today, and, they didn't get the written documentation out to us yet. So I'm gonna table that until July. What it means is that the school committee is gonna have to, vote to approve, the requirements needed to earn a competency determination. And then we have to put it in the student handbooks, which we typically review in August anyway. So we'll get, I know Lorenzo is working right now on any proposed changes to, the faculty handbook and the student handbook. And we'll present those to you in July, along with the competency determination language will be included with that, so that then you can vote on in August.
John?
I can, the minutes for the Ways and Means are a little, well, my opinion, a little lengthy, if we wanted to read them now instead of done. Because it's 5:30, or if we can do it then, I don't care, it's just.
Did you wanna,
In the interest of time, is
that's not a bad idea, I can live with that. Is that
okay?
And would we be okay with maybe reading the minutes from transportation, or is that something that?
I don't have that one,
Who's,
that was a committee of the whole, so I don't have that.
gotcha,
Do you have that?
I can.
Yeah, okay.
okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, John, that's great.
Oh, leave time on the other line. Okay, there were three, it's on French. There were three subcommittee meetings since the last minutes were updated. So the first one is on May 19th. The agenda was budget 2.0, and attendance was myself, John Kingston, the chair, Stacy Bronson Rizzo, Anthony Caggiano. Other members were Patrick Keefe, Jacqueline Monteroso, Aisha Milbury Ellis, and Fred Sinella, Dr. Kelly, Dr. McCarver, and Matt Cruz. Meeting was called to order at 4:35 with a salute to the flag and a roll call of the members. Mayor Keefe discussed the cost of transportation. Other discussions about junior ROTC enrollment, academic coaches and mentors. Mr. Cruz discussed rising health insurance costs and other costs to the district, making for a tough budget season. 21 teaching positions would hopefully be reassigned due to enrollment with hopes of retaining these teachers. Class size was discussed and the importance of both staff and students. The budget calls for 3.4 million deficit with money taken from our reserves. After a lengthy discussion, it was decided more cuts were needed to save money for the future. So it was uncertain with state and federal funding. The committee believed 3.4 million taken out of state funds should be reduced, and 1.7 million was the figure decided upon for the target for central office to come back to us at the next meeting. Meeting was adjourned at 6:05.
Thank you.
The second meeting was on June 3rd, again, the Ways and Means Subcommittee meeting. The agenda was budget 3.0, and attendance was myself, John Kingston, chair, Stacy Bronson Rizzo, Anthony Caggiano. Other members were Pat Keefe, Jacqueline Monteroso, Aisha Milbury Ellis, and Fred Sinella. Dr. Kelly, Dr. McCarver, and Matt Cruz represented central office. Meeting was called to order at 3:05, a salute to the flag and a roll call of the members. Dr. Kelly and Mr. Cruz presented the revised budget to reduce the deficit to 2.2 million. The new cuts were outlined by Dr. Kelly were discussed in length and the rationale for those cuts. 2 students with special needs, district-wide coaches, 4 consulting teachers positions, 1 adaptive PE, 2 VCBA positions, Some teaching positions that were unfilled or would not cause a significant class size were also cut. One civics citywide coach, discussion about the coaches which administrators believed were most needed. These cuts brought us to a $2.2 million deficit. Mr. Cruz explained the $450,000 to get to the 1.7 requested deficit. Meeting was adjourned at 4:40. And finally, June 11, 2025 Ways and Means Subcommittee meeting. This was budget 4.0. In attendance was myself, John Kingston, Chair, Stacy Bronson Rizzo, Anthony Caggiano. Other members present were Aisha Milbury Ellis and Fred Sinella. From central office, Dr. Kelly, Dr. McCarver, and Matt Cruz. Meeting was called to order 4:05, a salute to the flag and a roll call of the members. The committee presented their cuts to the budget. These cuts were discussed in length. One restorative justice district-wide, one communications director, one high school grading coach, 3 middle school operations administrators, 1 high school operation administrator. Voted to retain 1 alternative physical education teacher, 4 health techs, 1 civics coach, and 1 STEM coach. Vice Chair Jacqueline Monteroto presented a letter which was read into the record by me, explaining what she would like, what her suggestions were as far as cuts. There was a lot of discussion back and forth. This became the budget recommendation of the Ways and Means Subcommittee to the full committee. Meeting was adjourned at 5:05. That concludes my minutes.
And these are the transportation minutes from the
Thank
town.
you. I'm all set, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else on, Mr. Kingston's notes?
If I could, I don't know if anyone else does. To do the minutes, I go back and watch the meetings on YouTube, but I struggle with finding them. I'm pretty good with the computer, but
On YouTube?
I thought we got the transcript,
So that thing was like a temporary
free trial.
free trial.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
But
I'm
we
not saying it's impossible, but it's just, I don't know if I could, Mr. Chair, to the secretary, do you have any trouble finding it on YouTube or is it just me?
I have no
No,
problem.
I meant,
Oh,
it's been seen, no,
Wow. I don't have any trouble.
okay. Might be a me thing, all right.
We
very
can
good.
work with you on that.
I'll be honest with you, before, I used to be a me thing too with the YouTube, but I think, you have a subscription? It's
Yeah, you
free,
subscribe
right?
I did,
to
yeah.
it.
You can just hit.
I was
transfer.
looking at meetings from 2020, it just
It's
doesn't.
on the right hand side.
That's a software.
Yeah, no, it was funny, no, I mean, not that I was looking at it, I'd see the gates, but finding,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so.
The most recent's easy, it's going back a little bit.
All right.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
No, I'll just say, John, Mr. Kingston, I know that you've held your meetings and I know that we've also had other discussions regarding, kind of budget deficits and, we gave out, some marching orders to the administration and, Diane and her team, Matt came back with, what we asked for, 1.7, not to go beyond $1.7 million in reserves. And just to, I want to make sure that everyone understands that, there's never an intention on the school side to use these, but we all knew that kind of banking some of this ESSER funding and being a little bit more conservative over the last few years was gonna give us more of a runway with the ESSER cliff. It came a year sooner. But 1.7, in the hopes that next year we can keep it, I'll just say from, whatever we vote on later on, and I think that we seem to be in a decent spot, is knowing that next year we need to plan on trying to do the same exact thing, is not dip into these reserves very much so that we can spread them out over the next 4 to 5 years. But we are gonna have to continue to take the next 12 months to make the long-term decisions, rather than make them with giving people 11 days notice, 12 days notice. It's probably, it's not fair, it's not fun. I know that if we had no other choice, yeah, we'd have to make the tough decision. We have the reserve funds for that reason, but giving someone 12 days notice to me is, it's ripe for, it's not really good. So I think that you came with a good plan. I know that, the committee, the Ways and Means Committee came with some alternatives. And I saw what I think over the last week was a lot of, coming together and making good decisions, along with the feedback that we got from a lot of people in the district, a lot. And it was really nice because we can make decisions on a bubble, we can make decisions from what we think, but the educators, the superintendents, the administrators in the building, people that are making the choices and he's doing it every day are the ones that are gonna guide us. And, thank you for the feedback.
Yeah. And I'll just say that I have really appreciated the meetings that I've had individually with school committee members and the mayor, in person, or if it was a phone call in some cases. That people have been eager to collaborate and work together and find some consensus around all of this, because I know it is challenging. It is for me too, to receive any kind of, criticism, or you should be doing this, or you should be doing that. And I know the school committee has gotten a lot of letters from people, but I'll echo what the mayor just said. What it shows is how dedicated people are to the school district and to the kids. And how important it is to them that, everybody's voice be heard and be represented in the budget and those pieces. And, you know, I feel closer to you all as a result of this experience that we've had in the last couple of weeks, which I think is a good thing.
Mr. Snell, you had something?
No.
Matt, good job. Sorry to, I mean, you only did 6 versions of the budget. Thank you.
It's because everyone cares so much.
No, I mean, that's what happens.
So make a motion for 7
7
No.
version?
No.
We'll save the paper.
I think this was the record, right?
I think it's pretty close. And I know I'll mention one other challenge that we had this year was we struggled to get the Schedule 19 agreement done. So that caused a delay. Normally, the school committee is talking about the budget in February or March, but we couldn't.
Since you brought it up, if I could, Mr. Chair. In the future, it's not a, I'm gonna say, where it's not a, comparatively speaking, huge number. To me, if we, I don't know, I wouldn't say ignore it, I don't mean it that way, I don't know what to say. If we kind of expected an amount and just, you know, even shoot high, at least we still could have worked on the rest, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I know we waited a couple of weeks while that negotiation was happening, but it wasn't a big, I mean, in relation to 100 and,
It was
40 million.
37? Was it?
Yeah, I think there was
Reminding
kind of a
what the
big
number was.
disparity.
I just thought on something.
But I feel like we're in a better place with that too, and I think that will be.
No,
a
I
little
know,
bit
because we
easier
didn't
going
meet, because
forward.
we were waiting and that for
Yeah.
a few weeks, and that wasn't on, I
Mhm.
took some heat for that because I didn't schedule a meeting, but I reached out and I was told to wait, so. Just a time.
Do you want me to try to summarize the transportation?
Yeah,
stuff,
go
or
for it.
read
That'd
this?
be great.
Yeah, so the minutes are here. Robin just printed them and gave everybody a copy, but if I try to condense this down, the handful of big changes that the committee agreed to. The first was that we were going to reduce the eligibility for big bus transportation for our regular education students. There were no changes for the special needs students. They will have their transportation as always. And the changes to the high school and the middle schools, grades 7 and 8. Those students whose bus opportunity is being eliminated will get the M7 MBTA card, which gives them free, unlimited ridership for the 10 months of the school year. In the summer months, in July and August, those students or their families can choose to use that Charlie card to put some money on it and use it as they see fit in the summer. But the district would be paying the $30 a month cost for those Charlie cards. And I believe the agreement was a total of $250,000, with the intention being 50,000 for each of the 3 middle schools, and then 100,000 for City Lab and the high school combined, with any unused funds from the middle school also being able to apply to high school students if there are additional funds in that realm. We would still be transporting middle school kids if they live more than 2 miles from their school. High school students would be exclusively using the Charlie cards unless they have an IEP that requires transportation door to door. I think that's everything. Does that sound right?
Oh, just that no changes to the elementary at all.
No changes to the
I
elementary
can get
either.
that up
Yep,
there for the
yep,
parents.
that's right.
Identification of the parents.
So it's our older students that, you know, might be a good life skill to learn how to use the T.
Okay, any other business? Motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
All
So,
in favor?
Second.
Okay. All right, proceed to regular schedule meetings. Dave, let me know when we'll talk.